Thanks to the efforts of the Revolution crew and the friends they made along the way, the universe was saved from the brink of destruction once again. But the vast majority of the galaxy were still heavily confused and anxious about the sudden supernova in a system so close to the Vorcha's home world. Fortunately, the Shadow Council was ready to take on damage control head on. By monitoring and manipulating the flow of information, they were able to release just enough data to the media to calm down the masses and ensure that everything was under control. The events that led to the destruction of the Trebius system had been addressed and resolved. A cure for the disappearing biotics had also been discovered and would be distributed to anyone who shows the symptoms. However, despite all this, the job of the Revolution crew was still not over. Though the source of the red lyrium taint was destroyed, there were still lingering masses of tainted dark energy that had permeated throughout the galaxy. Zorai and the other Angarans said they would spend the time to purge this mess after the final confrontation. But with them gone, it was up to the Revolution to take on the responsibility in their stead. The problem was, the only ones who fully understood the light energy technology were the Angarans, Sarah, and Alan. Fortunately, they were able to recruit Salo Vera's help to acquire Sarah's notes on the tech from her binary helix computer. The notes, however, were not enough to fully reproduce the type of tech the Angarans planned to use to purge the galaxy, but they were just enough to come up with a device that could be mounted on the Revolution to do the job. I'll bet it would take a lot longer due to its suboptimal efficiency. Had the Angarans survived, this would be a non-issue. While Dia and G.M.I.C seemed intent on being actively involved with the purge, Nathan feels he has other things he must attend to, and Vito feels the deep responsibility to focus on his family for a change. Perhaps the Shadow Council will be able to recruit enough people to assist with the purge over time. That is the hope, at least. With the Angarans and their ark gone, no galactic war ensues. Many lives are saved because of this, but as our heroes know, that doesn't mean it didn't come with a heavy price.
Salo Vera. One of the major players that led to this victory were the G.M.I.C 2.0. Salo was finally ready to release to the public a secret project he has been working for the last several years. Naturally, many were outraged by the illegal infraction that Salo had done. Many called it irresponsible at best, criminal at worst. Due to the G.M.I.C contribution to the safety of the galaxy, there was no better time for the truth to finally come out. Salo hired numerous lawyers, and in the end, he managed to legalize the creation of AI and synthetic life once again. Salo will continue to ensure that the G.M.I.C 2.0 will set a positive example of synthetics and organics coexisting, at least as well as organics do with each other. It will be interesting to see how long it will last, but he, Mitri, Nilu, and BRO are hopeful that it will be for good.
Chief Arkara. Arkara was not pleased about being distracted from her duties as Chief of Tachanka when she was informed of the dark energy disaster, which is why when things finally got resolved, she looked forward to returning back to continue addressing the issues on her homeworld. Tachanka is still a long way from reaching the ideal state she envisions for her people, but Arkara is steadfast in pushing through. Her wife, children, and Otto continue to be a major source of support for her. The Revenivage experiments were completely shut down, and if Arkara sees yet another test tube, lab, or chamber ever again, you can bet she will be the first to smash it down.
Aya is arguably the one who has suffered the most throughout her life compared to the other heroes. Time and time again, those she trusted and loved the most have betrayed her. There were numerous times she was ready and willing to die, and yet here she still is. Still surviving. It will take a long time to completely get over what happened with Lun. Niha will be spending a lot of her time with her, helping her through it. Eventually though, Aya will bounce back. She will continue leading her mercenary group, as the job certainly is a great outlet to release her inner demons. The school for gifted biotics on Ilium will reopen and continue training the youth there.
Anar the Hanar. Anar is absolutely furious at what happened to Chris. However, he does find solace in knowing that his dear friend died a hero. He will mourn Chris in the coming months, but his wife and children will be there to comfort him. He's getting a bit too old for all these end-of-the-world shenanigans, especially now that he has a family to take care of. Will we ever see Anar again back in action one last time? Only time will tell, really.
Jules returns home, exhausted. Finally, he believes his father can rest easy, knowing that a tragedy like Trebia will never need to happen again. He still is willing to help the revolution with the cleanup afterwards, but first he wishes to acquire a bit of normalcy again. Not that he has nearly as much to complain about, given he joined the crew a bit late. Still, the entire experience will haunt him in his photographic memories. But at least he knows that he has friends he can rely on as needed. His line of G.M.I.C glasses continue to do well, and Jules will attempt to push the envelope for the next big thing in jewel crafting.
Zidrari. Vorcha aren't typically known to make major positive impacts on the world. At best, the vast majority of the galaxy ignore them. At worst, they either try to kill them or run away in fear. Zidrari's destiny changed when she first laid foot on the revolution. She felt something most Vorcha don't, a true purpose that really made a huge positive difference in the lives of those that shunned her. But that didn't matter to her, since now she had someone who made her feel truly beautiful. The Zidrari flower had blossomed, and she was on top of the world. It'll be exciting to find out what impact she will have next.
Callanaghn. Shortly after the Shadow Council does their thing, Callanaghn will finally be contacted by the Shastikar Enclave. Upon his arrival, Shastikar Samara will personally congratulate him on a job well done. He apologizes to him on behalf of all the Shastikar sisters for treating him as poorly as they did. Now that he has proven himself, which he now admits that he shouldn't have had to, Callanaghn becomes the very first non-Asari to ever become a Shastikar. This opens the door to many more Shastikar members of various races in the future, and it's just as well too, for in the order to cope with the loss of Star Rider, Callanaghn will continue to focus on his training to rise in the ranks of Shastikar, perhaps maybe taking over Samara herself when the time comes. Now, nothing will hold him back from pursuing his Shastikar dreams completely.
Stanley. Stan was never convinced to go through to becoming a Protean. And because of this, the rest of the collectors in Binary Helix never became Protheans themselves either. So much knowledge could have been unlocked, and many new opportunities could have opened doors. But alas, it was not to be. Stan was the kind of person that wanted to be the hero so badly. He wanted to make a difference and tell a good story while doing so. He was fearless of everything, but the one thing he was more fearful of was his own shortcomings. It's hard to believe that his story ended the way he did. That his last moments were so tragic, so full of guilt, and so full of unresolved potential. Again, is this how his story truly ends? After all, it's not like superheroes can come back from the dead. Can they?
After completing the preparations of the Shadow Council, Dia will be denied access to Alan's funeral service due to being disowned and her current relationship with her father. She will be unable to visit him at his grave for quite some time. However, she will be able to at least attend Vetra's funeral, and to this day, Dia still visits her every now and then. But whenever she goes to her grave, she often finds flowers there. But she will never know where or who they came from. In the early stages of the Shadow Council, she encounters great difficulties in keeping up with the other members due to sheer lack of resources. So eventually, out of desperation, with the help of Mother Hen, she sneaks a private meeting with her father. Though he was not at all happy about that exchange, he still ended up retaking Dia as a member of the Wintry family. She ensured that he never remembered her domination of his mind. Dia, or well, Logan, gave up Drag in order to acquire more power, to make sure that something like the Red Lyrium disaster never happens again. She died the day Alan did. With her gone, it's now Logan's turn to pick up the slack. And after a while of building up his resources, Logan dominated his father into committing suicide, spinning a story about how his father never truly recovered after the death of Alan, and the events that led up to it. He simply couldn't forgive himself. Such a shame, really. Such a shame. Logan takes over the Wintry Foundation and begins to spread his influence in the galaxy. His aim is to make sure he has the biggest pool of resources available, to make sure his soldiers are the best, that his power is great, to ensure that no dimension hopper sneaks through his net, to make sure he got to them first, and that no curious individuals looked further into the supernova incident. Morals are subjective in the face of our galaxy's survival, after all. But Logan has an off-again, on-again relationship with Jules. The impact of the final confrontation and Logan's new ambition with power often get in the way of their relationship. But after a while, Logan really grows to love Jules. Jules, however, is seeing someone else now, but Logan swears. They can see passing glances from him every now and then. Love in the face of death leaves a heavy mark. Logan often goes to the parties that Vito holds, more out of sympathy than real need, but it's nice to see everyone once in a while, especially Jules. Whenever Logan sees Nathan, he just remembers the words he said on that fateful day. You're cold, you're a monster, how could you? He would absolutely hate what Logan has become. But after embracing that monster within, you just don't seem to care anymore. Logan uses his newfound influence to absorb binary helix and provide a colony in the Outer Rim for the Collectors. He takes good care of them and ensures their safety from the galaxy. Sometimes they want to repay him out of choice, but no matter. He supports them in what they wish for. Logan manages to keep up a good name by publicly keeping himself involved in charities and other events. Unlike most others, he believes in direct action. He supports the queer community and people with economic troubles as he can.
G.M.I.C. The events at the final confrontation really hit G.M.I.C. hard. Despite its usual upbeat personality, it will take a very long time to get over the loss of its dear friends, especially Stan and Pip. It is said that as long as the memory of a loved one remains, they are not truly gone. That's why G.M.I.C. will keep its friends and family in mind for eternity. First, it will build a memorial for their friends and family that were lost during the adventure. the people who gave their lives so that everyone else could live. G.M.I.C wishes to help the Alloy and Collectors maintain Pip and Stan memory. He will do everything that can to help integrate the Alloy into galactic society and have better lives in any way possible. It will attempt to introduce the Collectors back into society as well, but Dia will insist that it is safest for them to remain hidden on the outer rim home he established for them. Still, G.M.I.C will visit the Collectors often, still debating to this day if something should accidentally happen that would cause some of the Collectors to escape. G.M.I.C will open a school for children, and adults alike to learn comic book drawing and toy crafting. G.M.I.C will also assist Salo in legalizing synthetic AI. Its personal slogan, "Make AI legal again." G.M.I.C will also ask for help creating AI synthetic reproduction, though it will probably take a long time before something like that would be achieved. G.M.I.C asks Salo for another body, one that would be more inconspicuous and easier to blend in with. However, it still keeps its indie body around for use around his friends. With Dia's personal obsession against dimension hopping, G.M.I.C has also its own obsession to find ways to visit parallel universes. It wishes to locate friends in these alternative realities. Curious about how they are faring these versions. If it could, the first thing it would do would be to find Pip and Stan, as well as other versions of itself. If it's able to travel to the Pokemon universe, that would be the next stop. And obviously, if this hypothetical happened, it would totally follow the rules of not affecting or changing any of the universes in any way. Well, mostly following that rule. Sorry, Dia. The problem is that Arkara is the only known person to have the technology to do this, and as nice as Arkara has been to them, there is no way that she would let G.M.I.C get anywhere near the device, so for now, all G.M.I.C can do is plot and hope that the opportunity will arise eventually someday. After all, it has all the time in the world. Plan how to steal it from Arkara, no. In the meantime, G.M.I.C will babysit Ojavi once in a while so Vito can have some free time with his husband. It will also ask Nathan for some help and tips hitting the gym. Plus, it will ask him for help picking the tattoo to remember his friends. And to pass time, G.M.I.C will also join Dia's former drag groups, the Drones. On the first place, G.M.I.C wanted to join the group to share more time with Dia, but even though Dia left the group, singing and performing at clubs, Motherhen seems to particularly enjoy G.M.I.C quirkiness and style. Once in a while, G.M.I.C will invite the group for some much-needed get-togethers. Overall, G.M.I.C wishes to continue learning and meeting more new and cool people. He wishes to absorb and learn about all the things all over existence and time.
Vito Shepard Pix. The events of the last fight hit Vito hard over the course of the following months, especially breaking down when he came home to an empty bedroom prepared just for Stan. It doesn't show right away, but Cellaric can tell Vito mourns his friends in his own way. He teaches himself to whittle, using Tervis wood, and reads Ojavi Superman comics. He does his best to keep their memory alive. He calls Nathan nearly every day. Hearing his voice soothes Vito's newly developing separation anxiety. He also never lets Sol or Ojavi out of his field of view. It takes months for Vito to understand daycare is a safe place. It also takes him a long time to stop sleeping either in the bathtub or in Ojavi's tank with her. Physical contact comes a long way, and being sandwiched between Sol and Nathan on bad nights especially helps him. Sleep is usually 2 to 3 hours in peace, without needing the pressure of water. He is, to Nathan's surprise, a huge sleep cuddler. With the money he got for their adventure, Vito finally builds Ojavi's tropical pool. complete with waterfalls, underwater caves, a hidden hot spring, a barbecue area, and an outdoor cinema. It feels almost perfect. He is hellbent on inviting his friends at least once a year for a movie night on the side of the pool. The first few ones are, well, missing people, tired and solemn expressions on their faces. But over the years, it grows into a moment they can all look forward to. Keeping his word to Solaric and to himself, Vito retires from the archaeology field. He instead gives safety classes at the Citadel Museum of Galactical History for future archaeologists, and gives animated tours to children. It brings him great comfort. When the Prothean pod is finally in an exhibit, the museum opens its doors to a conference with Reaper war heroes. This includes Commander Shepard. Working at the museum, Vito gets to see him over the course of multiple weeks. He gathers the courage to speak to him, to ask an autograph for Javi. Shepard is happy to oblige, and the two exchange a few pleasantries, but eventually his husband, Kaidan Alenko, ushers him back to the rest of the crowd. While he went out of his way to know his identity, Vito respects Shepard's choice of wanting to be unknown, and therefore never says anything. Perhaps that's for the best, as following your curiosity does not always lead to the most optimal things. No matter how hard the temptation may be, that is one of the lessons Vito is still in the process of learning. Through one of Nathan's charity that the museum supports, Vito and Solaric hear about a Salarian tadpole suffering from a rare condition. Sole survivor of a natural disaster in a Salarian colony. Politics and reproduction purity being the way they were in Salarian culture, his adoption by the couple was an adventure of its own. They named the child Cassius, after Solaric's late father. He grows up to be absolutely thrilled with his own condition, his skin being translucent and everything, and to love his sister dearly. As years pass, Vito's health weakens. G.M.I.C, his mother, and someone appointed by Shias look his genes over. While he ages similarly to the way a human would, like they expected, he develops disabling arthritis in his fingers, wrists, and legs around 40 years old, like a Salarian would. Braces do the job for the most part, but one day his bad leg gives out. It leaves him in a wheelchair.
Nathan Callanaghn. Nathan returns back to the Galactic Biotable League for at least 6 months. He plays for the rest of the season that was postponed via the destruction of the Trebia system. He utilizes his time to train himself in anger control and to think about his future. Although the Solic Wolves take home yet another championship, Nathan refuses to raise the trophy. The release of Nathan's movie debut, with music by Salo Vera and co-starring Atreus Yarncroke, accents the start of the off-season. Its score and acting, especially from Nathan and Atreus, are critically acclaimed. The entire time Nathan is seen with a vulture woman, who is confirmed to be his new girlfriend. At the premiere, it is seen that Nathan has gotten a new haircut. His hair is much shorter now, but it's still highly stylized. After the end of his contract with the Wolves, Nathan signs a 2-year multi-billion credit deal with the team. The sports commentators cling to this, expecting him to sign a 4 or 5 year deal, the maximum available to him. Rumors start swirling. Meanwhile, his music career takes off, selling millions of copies of his debut album, Troubled Minds. The galaxy quickly learns of his involvement in attempting to resurrect a long-forgotten communication array associated with a long-forgotten initiative. While there were questions asked about this, he tells the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Nathan sells his house on the Citadel, purchasing a similar home, just in a different location with some different vibes. His old home carries too many ghosts. Nathan visits Callanaghn regularly, helping him regain control of his temper. He also takes his friend's advice to work through some of his issues with his therapist. Zajari, Vito, and Solari continue to support him through this process as well, though Callanaghn mentions to Zajari that she may benefit from said sessions as well. Zajari, as you can guess, is not amused. Nathan has not held a weapon nor used his biotics outside of the Biotoball League since the day he struck Logan in anger. He takes time, a lot of time, acquiring new tattoos of the people they lost. A piece of Celtic armor designed down his left shoulder with the name of Callanaghn with Pip, Stan, Chris, Vetronix, Gosage de Shen, Alan Wintry, and of course, Sarah Ryder. Despite all his loss, Nathan still remembers to cherish the people he still has around him. But what really surprised him was when he met Cedrenix, Better's sister, at a memorial for the losses. The two hit it off. Eventually, Nathan changes his last name to Callanaghn Ryder.
And so ends another chapter, a tale of how the Red Galaxy was almost extinguished from the vast spectrum of worlds. Our heroes continued to carry the burden of its cost, but all for the sake of those who made the ultimate sacrifice. But what of the other worlds? The blue, the green, and so forth. That is a tale for another time. For now, there is much work to do, and much purging to be done. All across the Milky Way, dramatic changes are happening. Powers are shifting, laws are revising, organizations transitioning, technology bursting forward, a constant flux of evolving parts that are all components of the galaxy's revolution. So, Imp, you are making your way down the aisles. There are bookcases filled with books on either side of you. But something seems to catch your eye on one of the shelves. You can see a faint glow. You come upon a shelf that contains 3 books, and you remember these 3 books because they seem identical in every way, at least from the cover, the same title, but for whatever reason, the different covers are of 3 different colors. One is red, one is blue, and one is green. Currently, the red one seems to be giving off a faint glow.
So Imp will look around again, just looking at his surroundings. He's a little bit lost in his space, and for all intents and purposes time too. He just feels like he's doing the same thing over and over again, and he knows he's passed by this spot before, and every time he's passed by it, he always remembers going to the dream space and seeing the doors for the first time. And as he passes by the corridor, he always says, it's the red door, it's the red door. And then when he sees the book glow red, he's like, red door. And he'll float towards the book, and he'll pull it off the shelf.
On the pages themselves, there are very faint looking lines going all across them, almost as if the pages were cracking. If they were like made of something that was more tangible than just paper, it looks like there are cracks on the pages. And you notice this just for a few seconds, but then the cracks start to disappear and the pages restore back to the way they were, you feel a presence in the room.
And he'll turn around slowly.
As you're turning around, you can hear a sound click, 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 click. And before you is a figure of some sort that looks like a creature that you have never seen before.
Imp will start to approach slowly, and he'll hold his hands up. I am a friend. We are strangers, but I believe you're on the path. Welcome to the Athenaeum.